Hi, it's Lee. Thanks for coming back to Truly Happy. Today I'm going to share with you one of my family's favorite recipes. It's for meatballs. If my boys had their wish, we'd probably have meatballs 2 or 3 times a week. I like to make a lot and then I go ahead and bake them and freeze them. That way whenever we need meatballs, I don't have to run and get everything out just to make a batch. Might as well get all the work done now. That way we can reap the benefits in the weeks to come. So let me tell you the ingredients we need. First thing we're going to use is ground beef. I am actually going to triple the recipe today. It originally calls for 1 pound of ground beef. We're going to use 3 pounds. And I'm actually going to use a mixture of 80-20, which would mean 20% fat, and a 93-7, which would be 7% fat. I usually use very lean ground beef when I cook. But this recipe, you're going to want a little bit of fat because it's going to add flavor and keep the meatballs moist, especially when they're in the freezer. So that'll be the first thing. Then we're going to use a little bit of salt. Next up, garlic powder. The original recipe called for garlic salt. I felt that was a little too salty, so I'm going to use garlic powder. I will also link the original recipe down below, and just understand that I've made some modifications through the years. Then we're going to use some Italian seasoning, oregano. Next up is hot sauce. We love things spicy in our family. If your family does not, leave this out. We've got some Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of milk. If you are dairy-free, you could use some unsweetened almond milk, some Parmesan cheese, and then I'm going to use quick oats today. The original recipe calls for breadcrumbs. We like to keep things as gluten-free as possible here, so we will use some quick oats today. Now that I've showed you what we're going to combine, let's get started. First thing I did is preheat my oven, 400, got that set. Then I took out 2 cookie sheets, lined them both with foil, and sprayed them with some Pam. So everything is waiting for me when I'm ready. The oven will be heated up and my cookie sheets will be ready. So first off, I've got 3 pounds of ground beef in this bowl. I'm going to add my salt next. We needed 1.5 teaspoons. Make sure your hands are nice and clean before you get started. Next up is the garlic powder. And again, you just need 1.5 teaspoons, so I'm using a 1/2 teaspoon here. Basically, you just put everything in this bowl and start mixing. I like to do it with my hands. If you don't, I guess you could use a spoon. You could also get some plastic gloves if you don't like to touch the raw meat. I guess I'm just used to it because it doesn't even bother me. Next up, we're going to do the Italian seasoning, and we're going to do 1.5 teaspoons. So this is a big teaspoon measure right there. And this is not baking, so we don't have to be exact. We're going to add another 1/2 right in. Then we're going to add some oregano. And a lot of my spices I pick up at Aldi. They're 99 cents for these smaller jars. And as quickly as I use it, I've never had a problem with freshness. Gonna add a couple drops of hot sauce, and definitely leave this out if your family does not like things too spicy. Some Worcestershire, and this recipe calls for a lot. We're going to do 4 tablespoons of this. And that's what's going to give it that beefy flavor. So there's number 2. And number 4. Next up, our cup of milk is going to go in. The Parmesan that I have saved in this container, which isn't much, but that'll work. And the last thing I need to add are my quick oats. And I'm going to add 1.5 cups of quick oats. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now all I need to do is mix this up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I will show you the after. First batch is ready for the oven. I ended up rolling these by hand. A lot of times I like to use a big ice cream scoop. It keeps the shape uniform and it's easier. Depends on what size you want your meatballs. I have a really small ice cream scoop and an extra large, and I kind of wanted a medium meatball today. So I did these by hand. They're gonna go in the oven for 20 minutes. First batch is out of the oven. I went ahead and placed them on a paper towel to drain. I'm gonna let them cool completely, and then I will put them in some Ziploc bags. I used to put about 1 pound per bag, but this time I'm going to up it to about 1.5 pounds. I think that is the new amount that needs to be served at dinner, so we'll give 1.5 pounds a try. I needed a really easy dinner tonight, and the frozen meatballs were perfect. I threw them in a crock pot with a liner already in, and just added a can of our favorite marinara. We like the Trader Joe's marinara sauce. I mixed them together, cooked it on high for 4 hours, and when I walked in the door tonight, dinner was ready. If you like my cooking videos, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you have any suggestions of recipes you'd like to see me make, please leave them down below.